Today, I'll be covering the overview of Fatigue and Damage Tolerance Mentorship Program containing different topics, subtopics, and takeaways. The main topics are in stress life approach, introduction to fracture mechanics, introduction to propagation life, overview of design philosophies, and finally, fatigue and damage tolerance evaluation. The syllabus and takeaways of each unit are as follows. The takeaways for Unit 1 on stress life approach will provide you the evaluation of a SN curve apart from giving the definition and different types of fatigue. Also, it will cover different modification factors applicable to SN curve when one does the life prediction of a component. Minus rule is required to understand life estimation under different loading and understanding the effect of mean stress and notch on fatigue life. Familiarization of different types of cycle counting techniques required for variable amplitude loading. And also, finally, we'll understand the prediction methodology for under constant and variable amplitude loading. The takeaways for Unit 2, which is Introduction to Fracture Mechanics. As a part of introduction, the overview of fracture mechanics will be given. And also, it will characterize a new parameter, stress intensity factor, to describe the stress distribution at the crack tip and its application. And for aircraft structure, especially fuselage, which is under pressurization, how this bulging effect on stress factor. And then one can understand the significance crack tip plasticity, which occurs ahead of the crack tip. Also, the effect of thickness or orientation, fracture toughness. And finally, understanding of arc of required for the thin structure. The takeaways for Unit 3 on Introduction to Craft Propagation Life will provide the overview of craft propagation life. Also, it will give understanding how craft propagation behaves under variable amplitude loading by exhibiting load interaction effect. Also, we will see the importance of equivalent initial flaw size required to assume the initial crack length for any analysis. Then one has to understand how to determine the critical crack length as well as residual strength of a structure under the loading. The takeaways for Unit 4 is related to overview of design philosophies. It will provide the definition, salient feature, examples of different philosophies like safe life, fail-safe, and damage tolerance. And finally, the best practices adopted in industry against fatigue and damage tolerance will be covered. The final unit, the takeaways for fatigue and damage tolerance evaluation, consist of 9 subtopics. It will take you the formulation of the main regulatory requirements and means to comply them. Then it will give the understanding of basic fatigue load spectrum derivation. Then principle of equivalent fatigue and crack propagation stress. Understanding the different types of damage used for F&DT evaluation. Understanding the different classification of structure required for F&DT evaluation. Also, how to determine the detectable crack length as per MSC3, maintenance diagram 3, along with the NDT as a part of inspection. It also provides the requirements of different tests required for type certificate of aircraft under FR 25.571. Then formulation of tests involved in performing industry-based F&DT analysis will be covered. Finally, overview of widespread fatigue damage evaluation will be given at the fag end of the Unit 5. Thank you for patience hearing.